New games are revealed and announced every week, but only certain titles truly stand out and show incredible ambition from the teams behind them. From next-gen graphics to unique gameplay mechanics, these are some of the games we, as players, look forward to the most. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Sunstone, and today we have our very first episode of Cherry on Top, the show where I count down curated themed collections of standout games. In today's episode, we're taking a look at 10 of the most ambitious upcoming games that I'm looking forward to. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10 is Moonlight Peaks, a heartwarming life and farming simulator where you set out to prove to your father, Count Dracula, that a life of compassion is possible, even for the undead. In this title being developed by Little Chicken Game Company, you can decorate and customize your vampire sanctuary, farm cursed crops and flowers, brew potions, cast spells, enjoy seasonal events, participate in fishing and bartending minigames, cook delicious meals, and more. Plus, there is also an entire supernatural social scene where you can befriend local werewolves, witches, mermaids, and even unsuspecting humans with the hopes of finding true eternal love. To date, the team has released a decorating demo, a winter demo, and most recently a farming and fishing demo for the game on Steam, each offering an incredibly polished experience for players to sample. We also recently received news that Moonlight Peaks has partnered with Marvelous and Xseed Games to bring us a 2026 release timeline, which initially came as a bit of a shock. But I believe this only further indicates how ambitious the game likely has plans to be. I immediately felt that Moonlight Peaks was a very promising title from the moment I first played its earliest demo. From an observer's perspective, no corners are being cut. The graphics are high quality, and the title's being designed with controller support and consoles in mind from the ground up. The team is also constantly sharing sneak peeks at new assets, features, and more. More customization options, more characters, more crafters, more crops, more critters. Basically, you name it, they're adding more of that feature to the game as it develops. I've also noticed how responsive the team has been to feedback. For example, when their first demo dropped, many players, including myself, wished that our characters would be able to sit on the furniture in-game. And in just a matter of weeks, this feature was implemented. I honestly think that the team has only shown us just the tip of the iceberg for what this game will ultimately offer, and they've already shared a lot. So I'll happily and excitedly await that 2026 release. Coming in at number 9 is Witchbrook, described as a detailed life simulation and social RPG game, which is being developed and published by Chucklefish Games. Although we have yet to see any trailers or gameplay footage whatsoever, I'm speculating that this must be an ambitious title, because it was initially announced back in 2018, and it is still in development. In this title, we will be attending Witchbrook College, with classes to attend, assignments to complete, and badges to earn. We will also be able to take the magic we've learned in class and use it all around the town. This might even involve a variety of extracurricular activities like broom racing, gardening, photography, and more. There are also all sorts of magical shops to frequent, including boutiques, cafes, and seasonal markets. Further, you will be able to renovate your own cozy woodland cottage and partake in special events and activities throughout the whimsical world. We can see the ambitions already just from these features, but there's more. Life is planned to continue for you in-game post-graduation, where you can then use your skills to help the residents in your daily life, like for making deliveries by way of broom as one example. And on top of all of this, there are even plans for multiplayer. Not to mention the pixel art style is incredibly high quality and gorgeous. So yeah, I think it's safe to say, even just based on the very limited information we have so far, this is a pretty ambitious title. I can't wait to immerse myself one day in the world of Witchbrook, and I really hope we might be treated to our first trailer for the game soon, ideally this year. Coming in at number 8 is Paralives, a life simulation game set to release into early access in 2025, being developed by Paralives Studio. In this title, heavily inspired by the Sims franchise, you can build your dream house, create characters, and manage their lives however you'd like within the small open world town. Now, the customization and building mechanics being created for this title are incredibly ambitious. Build mode will offer gridless construction, curved walls, resizable objects, split level floors, custom shape stairs, full color and texture customization, and more. The characters called Parafolk can also be precisely customized with sliders, detailed tattoos, scars, beauty spots, colors, clothing patterns, complex personalities, and more. In Live mode, the Parafolk will have jobs to work, bills to pay, pets to care for, friends to make, love to find, lives to live. Further, participating in different activities, like playing the guitar for example, will improve their knowledge and skill in that specific domain, which can then be shared with others. The systems to interact with the other Parafolk also seem detailed and complex, with the ability to engage in a variety of activities together, hold conversations, and more. Even further, the developers are implementing in-game modding tools so that modders can create their own content to be added to the game and to be shared with the community. The extent to which everything in the game is customizable, combined with the detailed systems put in place for world interactions, are all incredibly ambitious. Not to mention, the team has made a claim that Paralives will never have any paid DLCs, only free updates. Next, at number 7, we have Farm Folks, a third-person, open-world, multiplayer life simulator game being developed and published by Critivo. And honestly, I don't even know where to start with this title. If you can think of it, the developers are probably trying to include it in the game. Crazy automation tools, hoverboards, bacon plants, ghosts, like 1,000 variations of every customizable item. I mean, they claim to offer an unparalleled customization system, which in plain terms means that no other game's customization options and tools will be like theirs. I actually don't even know how much of what they share is legitimately planned to be included in the game, or if any of the more bizarre and obscure features they showcase, like those bacon plants and seemingly out-of-place phantoms, are just a farm engagement, because sometimes these things do seem super random, at least to me. I only say this as a bit of a disclaimer because I personally have trouble getting a gauge on their overall tone of how they use their social media for marketing purposes. But if they really do have plans to include the incredibly wide variety of features that they've been sharing and still pull off making it cohesive, then boy, is this an ambitious title that we might be waiting quite some time for. It's also more than worth noting that the team was originally planning to launch a Kickstarter campaign for the game in March of 2023, and well, it's now over a year later and still no Kickstarter, but it still says that their Kickstarter is coming soon. I worry that the ambitions of this game in particular might be its ultimate downfall, but of course, I would hope to be proven wrong. I'm honestly really on the fence about this title, as you can probably tell based on what I've shared with you today, but I know it is very highly anticipated, and I've changed my mind on it so many times, so I would love to hear your thoughts on this one specifically down in the comments. Coming in at number 6, we have DokeV, a creature-collecting, open-world action-adventure game filled with intriguing stories and set in a unique, vibrant world. In this title, you will get to befriend all sorts of adorable DokeV inspired by Korean folklore who gain strength from and encourage people's dreams. Now, as you can see from the gameplay footage shown here, the world of DokeV looks incredibly ambitious. It has been said that players will have lots of freedom in the expansive open-world setting and will be able to unlock a wide variety of traversal methods designed for getting around on land and in the sky. Main and side quest lines will be included, along with minigames, combat, customization elements, and more. I mean, taking just one look at this game, it's pretty clear to me that the developers, Paralives, have big ambitions. Now, this studio is simultaneously working on a very different title called Crimson Desert, which they're currently operating full speed ahead on, which means that DokeV has taken a bit of a backseat for the time being, but I'm hoping that we'll get to see more from the game later this year, because I think this could really shape up to be the well-polished, creature collecting game that we all deserve, and what I personally wish the Pokemon Company would strive for. Next, at number 5, we have Loftia, a cozy solarpunk MMO game set within a world of floating sky islands. In this title, you will start a new life working together with others toward a brighter and more sustainable future. This emphasis on sustainability will lend itself to many of the core gameplay mechanics. For example, you'll be able to grow crops using techniques like hydroponics and hanging gardens. You will also be able to collect energy from a variety of different sustainable sources to help power the city of Loftia, like wind turbines, solar panels, and bioluminescent ivy acting as a beautiful alternative light source. The title will offer character and housing customization, animal rescue and adoption, group quests, the ability to explore new biomes, recycling features, sustainable crafting mechanics, and this is truly just scratching the surface. Loftia ran an incredibly successful Kickstarter campaign, raising over $1.2 million, which also means a whole slew of new features were unlocked to be added into the game's development, like fishing and bug catching, thrift stores, cooking, part-time jobs, relics to collect, clubhouses, player-run markets, additional islands, and more. Given that the lengthy list of features I've shared today doesn't even cover all that is planned for this cozy MMO, I think it's pretty clear how ambitious the team's plans are. Cloud Games, the developers, have plans to run both an alpha for the game and an early access phase, so this is likely to be quite the long journey for both players and the developers, but it's all very exciting and good things take time. Coming in at number 4, we have inZOI, another incredibly ambitious life simulator set to challenge The Sims with cutting-edge graphics powered by Unreal Engine 5. In this virtual world, you will be able to precisely create characters, which are called ZOIs, with incredibly extensive customization features. Traits can also be assigned to the avatars, which will influence their personalities and reactions to events. Preferences, likes, dislikes, and life ambitions will further add depth to the characters, and the ZOIs will be able to build relationships, pursue various activities, and work different jobs. As players, we will also have pretty extensive control over the environment, with the ability to customize buildings, alter the cityscapes, and manipulate weather conditions. The ZOIs can have pets, drive cars, and will stay in touch with each other via their phones for messaging and sending out invitations. Now, it's worth noting that much of the footage we've seen so far is somewhat choppy, which is almost to be expected with a game of this power, at least until it becomes further optimized. However, I wouldn't be surprised if even with optimization and polish, it still requires a powerful PC, current gen, or even next-gen console to run smoothly. I honestly think some competition in the Sims niche is long overdue, since EA currently dominates, with not many other strong options being available as alternatives, but this title seems extra ambitious, so only time will tell if it ultimately measures up. Next, at number 3 is Puff Pal's Island Skies, a wholesome life simulator game where you can collect, farm, customize, and explore new lands with cute and fluffy Puff Pals. This title is being created by Fluff Nest, a plushie company, and this is another title that ran another incredibly successful Kickstarter campaign, funding over $2.5 million. The success of this campaign added fishing, a recycling center, cooking, an arcade, new biomes, multiplayer, the ability to run your own shop, an entire amusement park, a Switch port, and more. So this title has plans to be incredibly feature-rich, with no shortage of activities to enjoy. The game is currently in its alpha phase and has completed the first round of testing. Now, initially, this phase was planned to be quite short before moving out of alpha, but plans have changed and the team will be hosting at least one other testing phase. I think this is a very good call, just based on what the team has shared publicly from the testing experience. Some major foundational aspects of the game, like the controls and the camera, were not very well received overall by players, and they've also been reworking entire mechanics, like fishing, for example. Now, this is the time to do it, before they get any further in development, so I'm very glad that the learning curves for the team are happening sooner rather than later. I just think this also means that previous timeline estimates given were probably quite optimistic, and will likely be waiting quite some time for the game's early access branch, let alone the full release, especially considering that it appears the team is implementing extensive feedback from players who are testing the game, which I believe will only make an even more enjoyable and polished final product. But I will admit the one thing that concerns me is that it seems the team is still attempting to add more new features. Now, of course, because development is a fluid process in an ever-changing changing landscape, new ideas might come about organically that make perfect sense for the game's features that wouldn't have previously been conceptualized. But the specific worry I have is that on their website, they've added a coming soon section, which in the future will outline what our support could help them add beyond what was added from the Kickstarter and budgeted from the money funded here. I understand wanting to receive further funding to support the team while they work on development, but if this is essentially going to be another Kickstarter held on their website to continue unlocking and adding new features, I just really worry that it's going to get out of hand and become unmanageable for the team this early in development, with rising pressures that they're ultimately putting on themselves, and then also from the enthusiasm of players who are eagerly awaiting the title. Coming in at number 2 is Under a Rock, a procedural open-world survival game where you explore a primitive landscape in a land where life has taken a different evolutionary path. Wildlife is oversized, Neanderthals still exist, and curses are real. As you explore the mysterious island you found yourself on, populated by exotic creatures, you will unveil secrets as you survive a variety of environments, including dark caves and underwater spaces. Plus, the world you explore is procedurally generated, making each playthrough unique. Craft, harvest, farm, fish, fight, and build your own base. Apparently, there is no limit to how expansive your base can be, or how many small decorative items you can place together. You can create an entire city if you would like, which on its own is ambitious because most games have building and decorating limits. You can also tame and breed a variety of creatures, or enlist their help to act as mounts. And everything can be experienced with up to 10 players. The game is using Unreal Engine 5, as you might be able to tell based on what we've seen thus far. The visuals of this game are so gorgeous and remind me of a Pixar sort of style. It also seems that this game will be taking the early access approach for development, which could definitely be helpful for building the game with that player feedback in mind. Now, the information we have about this game is somewhat limited, but I think so far we can tell that it is pretty ambitious. Even more so due to the fact that it is being developed by the studio Nordic Trolls, which is a team consisting of just 5 people. I feel like we could be waiting a while for this one, but it really looks like it's going to be worth it, and I just love what we've been shown so far. And the cherry on top of today's list is Light No Fire, an upcoming fantasy game about sharing adventure, building, survival, and exploration with others, being developed by Hello Games, the team who brought us No Man's Sky. This is by far the most ambitious upcoming game that I have encountered, not just because it aims to bring the depth of a role-playing game to the freedom of a survival sandbox, but because it is set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth. By that, I mean that it will offer a truly open world with no boundaries at a scale that has never been attempted before. The planet will be filled with immersive biomes, unique creatures, valuable resources, and more, where everywhere that you can see, you can travel to. So every mountain can be climbed, every ocean can be explored. New continents can be discovered. You can ride wild beasts, fly dragons, sail across rivers. Basically, the only limit seems to be our imaginations in this case. And remember, all this is to be experienced in multiplayer. If the team truly does deliver on this concept, this will be a huge accomplishment and milestone for the gaming industry as a whole. We've definitely never seen an open world in any game that can be experienced in the way that the world of Light No Fire has plans to be. This game has incredible potential to be one of the most immersive games that's been created, making it the most ambitious game on today's list and perhaps of all time to date. Well, there you have it, friends. Those were 10 of the most ambitious upcoming titles that I'm looking forward to, but let me know which games you just can't stop thinking about. Anything and everything, you know I always love hearing from you. I hope you enjoyed the very first episode of Cherry on Top, and with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and until next time, take care.